So we told you about SpaceX's Starship explosion at the top of the hour. And even though the ship failed to make it beyond an altitude of 23 miles, well, there was still something gained from that experience. So let's bring in NASA Ambassador Tony Rice. Tony, thank you for joining us today. So this test flight was mounted atop the company's new Super Heavy rocket booster. It's said to be the most powerful in the world. So what makes this test run so different from the rest?
Well, for one thing, that's the first time that vehicle, that launch vehicle, had really been tested in that configuration. They've used those particular engines before, but they never used them all at once. So there's 35 engines on the business end of that rocket, and they never fired all at once. And part of the design there is that some of those engines can fail. So they got a really good test today of that because some of those engines did fail. And that contribute to what we saw today? Well, we're going to find out. SpaceX is going through that data. And that's really what's important about tests like this is the data, is gaining that experience and the real world, not just launching it in the computer, but launching it on the real launch pad is what gives the confidence to eventually put people on board this one day.
People hear the word fail or failure and think, oh, no, it wasn't great. No, there's still something to learn there. And this mission was still a success due to the goal that was attempted to be reached. So can you explain why this is still a win, with data and even beyond that part?
Well, Elon Musk said today that if they didn't destroy the launch pad, they were going to consider it a success. Again, because this is the very first time they've launched this vehicle. So certainly a success in that regard. But again, getting off of the launch pad and getting that information coming back about the performance of those engines, how did it follow the planned trajectory? All that kind of information. It's not information they've had before. So was it a complete success? Obviously not. As we saw pieces of it rain down in the Gulf of Mexico, that's pretty clear. But is it a failure? I don't think you can call any launch like this that doesn't get off the pad, unless it doesn't get off the pad completely. That would certainly be a failure. But beyond that, we've got that information that's coming back, so that is certainly a success.
And of course, this is kind of paving the way for the future Artemis missions, returning to the moon, and this will help usher larger payloads, equipment, as we go and return to the moon there. NASA Ambassador Tony Rice, thank you so much for joining us live.
Thanks for having me.